Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's me, the Ludio Double G.
And maybe real Slim Katie, 25.
Oh, baby, and you're listening to
Geek Gourmet.
Well, good stuff, Katie. How are you doing today?
How are you doing today?
You're not gonna answer my question, or what? Yeah,
That's my answer.
you're alive.
Yeah. My answer is like 30 minutes before this, Louis called me and tried to have a heart-to-heart, being like, you seem tired. And I'm like, yeah, I'm so tired.
I tried to. I don't know.
You did. It was a successful.
Seems like we were successful.
It was successful. It was a very good conversation.
Well,
But
good.
yeah.
I'm glad.
And then I took a showie. Lulu's
showie?
here. Lulu.
Okay, Lulu's here.
She's here.
Shawi and Lulu's here.
Do I sound okay, by the way?
Yeah, you sound fine.
My
Do
audio
you mean
not
like?
ass.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant like if your voice sounded weird. And I was like, what?
No, my audio.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how my day is. How's your day?
Day's fine. I had today off from work, so I've been like editing and like putting stuff together and things and stuff, and I got some new basketball shoes, so they should be here shortly.
Sheesh.
So I'm gonna.
If you guys don't know, Louis like pretty good at basketball, actually.
As good as someone who's 5'2" can be.
Yeah, basically,
Right?
yeah.
Right.
No, Louis pretty fucking good at basketball.
There's this meme because Gloria will go with me sometimes to play, and there's this meme between the two of us that I can make 3-pointers all day, but for some reason I don't know what it is. I cannot make a free throw to save my life. Like, I mean, it's not like I don't make them, but it's like the ratio to which I make 3-pointers to free throws is like wildly different. It's like 1 in every 3-pointers I like make, and if I'm lucky, I'll get like 3 or 4 in a row. But then for free throws, it's like 1 in every 5 I make for some reason. I don't know.
So which one is the one that's from the top of the semicircle?
That's a 3-pointer. All the way around the semicircle is a 3-pointer, and
And
inside
then a free
it's
throw
2.
is just anywhere else?
No, a free throw is the result of a penalty. So if somebody like has a penalty, does a penalty inside the 2-point area for the most part, like you get 2 points, 2 free throws, and that's like the equivalent of like a penalty kick in soccer, right?
It's just
or something
easier
like that.
or something, or
Yeah. I mean, it's meant to be a free shot, right? Assuming you
okay.
make it, and that's as a result of somebody else like punching you in the gut, and it was a blatant like foul. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is Katie's basketball knowledge, by the way.
Yeah.
But we are not, in fact, a basketball podcast. However, I would actually love to have a basketball
We
podcast
could be.
one day. And I feel like David Bennett would actually be really chill. That Achilles,
Love it.
because he's really into basketball too.
Wow.
Actually.
Who's the doxer now?
Well, I actually think that he's okay because his music
It's
persona.
his public image.
I think it is, right?
Go check out his
So-
music, by the way. David Bennett has some
Achilles.
awesome music. And
Great
Old
music.
Bang on Instagram.
Yeah,
Last
Austin.
name.
Yeah.
Question mark.
Yeah. Good music. We're affiliated with Eris Records, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about geek shit.
Okay.
Geek
Pretty
shit.
big geek shit. Louis, I'm so excited to talk to you about this because I don't know if you know it yet.
Yeah.
This news just broke within the last hour.
Yeah.
But Acolyte has been
Uh-huh.
canceled after
Uh-huh.
one season.
That was on the top of the thing I was going to bring up. Yeah. See, here's the thing. I didn't watch the show. Well, I saw the first couple
Right.
episodes, like I said, and they did not grab my attention. Therefore, I did not continue to watch.
Right.
What about you? Did you actually end up finishing it?
I still haven't finished it. Now,
Okay.
okay. And I can't speak to the quality of the entire series, right? But
These are Smarties, by the way. I'm eating Smarties.
Smarties. As we know, Louis is big into, hard drugs.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
No, just kidding. Geek Gourmet is a mostly drug-free podcast.
Mostly, okay.
Mostly
Go
drug-free
ahead.
podcast.
Continue.
I don't even know. Oh, so I think this speaks to probably less than the quality of the show, But I think just as a culture, the like absolute refusal to accept any new Star Wars content. I mean, basically nothing is done well
Yeah.
recently. Like
Yeah.
since well, I guess the last thing that did well was Rogue
Andor.
One. Or
Andor.
Andor was really well received.
Everybody
But
who I talk to about Andor is head over heels for Andor. They
yeah.
absolutely fucking love it. And I am one of those people who hasn't liked a lot of the new Star Wars stuff. I will say, I love the Bad Batch, the animated cartoon.
I've heard it's
the animated
amazing.
show. Bad Batch is fucking phenomenal. But everything else that I've watched, I haven't liked. So like I've seen all of Ahsoka, all of Fett, all of
Right.
minus the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is, I feel like, the exception.
Is very well liked. It's very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm one of those people who's like, I'm skeptical, and then I watch it, and I'm usually like, well, that fucking sucked.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it was kind of doomed from the start. It was like a new series, brand new characters, kind of a genre departure because it was trying to take itself pretty seriously, to be like a more like grown up thriller. So I don't know. It is sad to see like shows not get to flourish because I am a strong proponent of, you know what? Most shows, the first season is the worst. And even some of the best shows, like The Office, people fucking love The Office. The first season sucks ass. Parks and Rec, first season sucks ass.
Yeah, I think we've briefly talked about this in the podcast before, but yes, agreed.
Like they need time to breathe and grow. So it's kind of sad that they won't get a chance to do that.
Yeah, well, and like also, Star Wars is in a place that Marvel was like 2 years ago, where there's just so much coming out. I think Kathleen Kennedy and company need to like do what Kevin Feige is doing now and like moving away from quantity and going with quality. We see that like new characters and new things can absolutely work. I mean, look at Andor, for example, right? I think that the difference there is, from what I've heard, and I need to watch it to have more insight on this, but from what I've heard, the writing is impeccable, right?
Yeah.
And so they obviously have a code, and they just need to implement it into other things that,
Yeah. Help. So we'll see. There was like a shockingly low amount of Star Wars news from D23.
Like, which I kind of see, and I had the same thoughts, right? And like I kind of see that as like a good thing, because maybe they're reevaluating. Right. Maybe they had this whole slew of things to be like, oh, here's all the things that are going on, and then it just kind of just, So like, and here's something I will say about Star Wars, and I shit on things so much with Star Wars, and I know Katie's more on the side of
because
like,
we care though,
that they like it, and yes, that is very true, but also, I just read the books, and so like with anything that isn't like as nearly as good as like the books, I'm like, you have the source material, just use it, just use it, just use it. I mean, just use the Darth Bane trilogy, or just whatever. Don't use the book Deceived though, because that book was asshole.
I haven't read it.
It's basically it's about the first Sith Lord that ever conquered Coruscant. He falls in love with his like servant. It's a love story. It's like not good. I don't get it. Anyway, moving on. D23. Other D23 things. So
Skeleton Crew. They showed a trailer, by the way. Not to derail you, but they showed another trailer.
No, they did, yeah.
And my hopes are high. I don't know if you saw, but I reposted from the Geek Gourmet account.
I did.
This TikTok that was like, I don't know. The Skeleton Crew trailer looks like it's full of silly little alien guys. So it's on track to be a great Star Wars project.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it looked interesting and new, but that's all I get from it so far.
High hopes, low expectations.
Yeah. In other D23 news though, there was a slew of like Disney stuff, period, that isn't like Marvel or Star Wars, but they had my favorite thing in the world that they showed. I know how everybody feels about live action things when it comes to like Disney taking their old animations and making them live action. I am like a really big fan of Lilo and Stitch. I fucking love Stitch. And so that little like CGI whatever of Stitch that they showed, I loved it. and I am the target audience for this movie for sure. So I guess we'll
It
see
actually
what.
looks kind of cute though.
I wish it would the colors were more vibrant, but like Miss Gloria said, it's Disney live action, so it's going to be more muted. That I
I
mean
never
that
thought
was
of that.
my favorite. Yeah, that was my favorite thing there. That I do wish the colors were more vibrant, but like, what are you gonna do? Gabagoo.
Yeah. Well, you know what one of the things I'm most excited about. Well, people keep talking shit that they're like just bringing back sequels, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Incredibles 3 was announced. And I'm just going to say
I
it.
love those movies. I like them.
I like Incredibles 1. I don't think Incredibles 2 is memorable at all. That's my hot take. I can't remember it at all. I've seen it like, twice.
Yeah,
I don't remember it. You know what I am really excited about though? I don't know if you know this because I don't know if I talked to you about it. But I am one of the things I'm most excited for is the Coco Dark ride.
You and your fucking amusement parks. Okay, go ahead. Let's hear it.
It's just a dark ride that takes you to the story.
We did talk about it briefly on the stream, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's brief, but I think it's really fun. A lot of really cool parks news. Probably the most interesting thing is Villains Land in Orlando. This is their like bump to try and compete with Universal's Epic Universe, and open a new, instead of opening like a whole new gate, just opening a new land, which we'll see. We'll absolutely see. But if they can,
I will say one thing in the amusement park world. Miss Gloria and I had a conversation today about our potential trip next summer. And she was like really liking the idea of going to Universal to go to Super Nintendo World and see Harry Potter World. I wonder if, I mean, maybe we don't do Disney World, or maybe you and I just do Disney World for a couple days, and then she joins us later for Universal. I don't know, but anyway, one way or another, we are going to go to do some amusement park stuff next summer. It sounds like maybe
it's official, guys. I'm so excited. I'm convinced.
And if we don't next summer, vacation. I don't know. I don't care, but like we'll figure it out.
I mean, at the very least, we'll go do something fun.
Yeah. But anyways, in the news of trailers and shit from D23, I saw the most horrendous trailer I've ever seen in my entire life.
What is it?
The Snow White trailer. Did you see that?
You think it's the most horrendous trailer you've seen in your entire life?
Yeah. It's, first of all, it's so,
I didn't watch it in full. Tell me everything.
Oh, it's so weird. This is such a, okay. Like, this conversation point, like, is so weird just how we are as a society at this point in our Lord and Savior 2024. The dwarves are CGI'd. Completely. So, like, it's so weird because, like, do you cast people right? Like, and so, like, Peter Dinklage came out, and I saw this on Facebook, and
what did he say?
And dude, I may be wrong about this. I need to fact check this. Maybe I should fact check it before I say it. Then I will preface it with this. Take this with a grain of salt. Make sure you do all of your research. Don't just take what we say for sure.
Right.
Because I read this on Facebook, and it was from a newsworthy source. I did not read the article. I'm just gonna say
Spill.
But he was like, it is kind of like gross to cast people with dwarfism as dwarfs and goblins and things like that.
Right.
And it's so weird because when you like see Willy Wonka and you see what's his name, Wonka with Timothy Chalamet, ding dong, and what's his name, CGI'd as all of the Oompa Loompas.
Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant. And honestly, that movie's not bad. I'm not gonna lie, the movie isn't terrible.
I mean, you said it, not me.
I saw it, and it's not bad. Like I think it didn't get as much recognition as it deserved. However, I don't think it's the best movie in the world, but it's a lot better than I thought it would be. Anyway, in the conversation of this, I don't know what the right way to go is, and I'm thinking about it as I'm watching the trailer. And I'm like, you know what the right thing to do was? Not fucking do this movie.
Well, that's the right thing to do as a whole, because it's like there's so much wrong with it anyways. Like the idea of Snow White, pretty fucked up. A lot of these original fairy tales, I mean, the Grimm brothers and like all the original fairy tales are just kind of fucked up as is. So I'm like,
Yeah.
if you're dealing with that and then you're dealing with this and it's not going to look good, but it's also just like, have you ever met a single person who Snow White is their absolute favorite Disney character? I'm sure
Yeah.
they exist, but nobody's like, oh
Yeah.
my God, I can't wait to go to Disney to meet Snow White and the
Yeah.
dwarves.
Yeah. I agree. And like, I don't know. My opinion is that this movie probably shouldn't have been made. Also, Rachel Zegler, this is not the role for her. Also, there was a lot of like
Why?
on-set like things that she did that were not cool, according to some articles that I read about it.
Wait,
Apparently,
what?
she was just a straight up diva and just a bitch, like just straight up.
Really?
Yeah. So
I
like,
like Rachel Zegler.
really,
You know who doesn't? Miss
who
Gloria.
does she not really? I feel like her and I. Well, okay, so she was good in that Hunger Games prequel movie.
She was fantastic in it.
I thought she was, and even Gloria was like, "Oh, she was good for this." Like seeing her in that role, I'm like, perfect role for her. Seeing her in Snow White as it is right now, the hair looks bad. Like it all just looks really weird. Anyway, did not like the trailer. It is not good.
Okay.
This movie did not need to be made. My take.
Hot take.
Yeah.
But that actually is a perfect transition into something I wanted to talk about with you, okay?
All right, go ahead.
We talk about Rachel Zegler potentially, allegedly being a bitch on set. And this brings me around to, have you been hearing all of the drama about Blake Lively?
Blake Lively? Yes. Dude, the amount of like TikToks I've watched and like articles I've read over the past week about this have made me like kind of just like question everything. And not because like not because I particularly ever liked her. Like I in the Blake Lively Ryan Reynolds sphere, I've only ever really liked Ryan Reynolds because the amount of content I've taken in from Blake Lively has been next to none, other than like the Green Lantern and that one show she was in. So Ryan Reynolds has always been in that sphere who I've gravitated towards. And so after like seeing like the third or fourth TikTok and like the second or third article I read about it, I was like, I actually don't care about this. And then I moved on.
So
like,
it's, if you don't know, bunch of
we should talk about it on our pop culture podcast. Go ahead. Sorry.
We should. So if you guys don't know what's happening with that drama, this is geek news. This is pop culture news.
Yeah, I would think so.
Blake Lively, a bunch of interviews have resurfaced of her just being like kind of standoffish, whatever to interviewers. People think she's been acting like a bitch for years and just being unnecessarily rude to people, right? But that's everybody's individual take. Here's the thing about the whole Blake Lively situation, okay? I, for a very long time, like just going into life, was just like, wow, everybody I'm going to assume is nice and kind-hearted until proven otherwise. But then I started working in food service. And it's like, as much as I want 100% of the people I meet to be super nice and kind all of the time, that's not the number it is. Realistically, and like if we're being generous, I'd say 70, very generous, right? 70% of people I meet are very, like, are kind enough at least, right? So, but realistically, like if we're gonna be honest, I'd say it's like 50-50. 50% of people I meet are just like, don't give a shit about me at all and don't make any effort to like make any human connection. Whatever, right? That's not an expectation when you're going to a restaurant. But why do we expect 100% of celebrities to be nice and kind and all of these things when in reality, most people do not go out of their way to be those things? Why do we think all celebrities will? So, I mean, in reality, it's super unrealistic to think that every celebrity you meet is going to be like that. So I don't think it's very surprising to see this very, very privileged white woman who, let's be honest, she gives off the air of, I was super cool in high school and I just like that's
Regina
the vibe
George
she gives
or
off.
what?
Yeah. She gives off the perfect vibe of like mean without being like a like schoolgirl bully. You know what I mean? Like she's not like, you're ugly. She's just like snippy. But it's like, why do we think celebrities are going to be perfect? like, I'm not surprised by this. I don't think just because she's famous that means she must be a good person. So it's not like surprising.
Well,
But
no,
everybody seems shocked.
and here's the way I've always approached like just life in general, and like when dealing with people, and especially like expectations of famous people, right? Like it's so much easier to fall when you're at the top, right?
Right.
And so one thing that my grandma always said, and like it's funny because like my grandma always gave fast food workers a hard time. That's not important. But something that she said to me that did resonate with me, past childhood, was that you never know, somebody could be having a bad day, and they were
Right.
you just happen to catch them on their bad day, and they said and did things that
Right.
were not cool. And here's something that I'm going to say about this. That rule to me applies only so far, right? And so like if we're talking about somebody who sexually assaulted somebody, or like had conversations with a minor, or even did whatever with a minor, like there are lines
like,
to
you're
that.
a piece of shit. Yeah.
Yeah, there are lines to that to where I'm like, okay, that rule doesn't apply to you, my friend. But
Right.
in the situation of Blake Lively, and her thinking she's being like fat shamed and like all of those things, if you
Right.
want to watch the videos, go literally look up Blake Lively situation, and they'll all pop up. I'm not gonna sit here and explain them all to you. My thing is that she could have been having like the worst day ever, and then
Right.
that is the thing that just toppled her over, and boom, she says the things that she says. And I do think there needs to be room for that, right? Like there has to be on your end as a person, there has to be room to be able to forgive people when they have a bad day, or if they say and do bad things, like in that regard, right? Like if you it's almost to me like if you would want to be forgiven too,
Right.
like if you said or did something on a very bad day, you would want to be forgiven. And I think
Grace
you need
and
to allow that.
forgiveness.
I think you need to allow for other people to have bad days. And for someone like Blake Lively, for someone like Ryan Reynolds, that is like tenfold, because
Right.
quite literally Ryan Reynolds is at the top of the world right now with Deadpool 3.
I agree.
And by extension, Blake Lively, because you can never say Blake Lively without Ryan Reynolds, and Ryan Reynolds without Blake Lively. So
now, a big part of the criticism on this, I will say, is that Justin Baldoni, her co-star in It Ends With Us, a lot of like the criticism stemmed from he's been promoting this as a very serious movie depicting domestic violence, and she's been like, oh, it's a super fun rom-com, like bring your friends, it's like a cute date night, and not like speaking to the terms of this movie.
Is
and
it
like
out
that.
yet? Is that movie out yet?
Yeah, I've heard it's mid, but I also heard the book was bad. So anyways, I also think it's interesting, like who gave people on TikTok the right to be the moral police. Celebrities don't really owe you anything.
That's like a whole other fucking conversation.
That's a whole other we don't have time to get into all of that. But
yeah, no, I understand. I understand exactly what you mean by that.
Is she probably a bitch? Yes, probably. But like, who are we to judge? We've never met her. You don't know this person. You've seen like 30 seconds of her life.
Right.
So
exactly.
I don't know.
And of course it has
tough.
to be the biggest fucking thing in the world, because it's negative and people gravitate towards negativity, just like with the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. Anyway.
Yeah.
Putting that
what
in
a good song that is. Not Like Us. Great.
Yeah, Not Like Us. Great song. Fucking awesome song.
Great fucking song. Absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. All of those songs that came out of that quite literally made history. Like,
you should hate people more, because if you're gonna make music like that.
Okay, I mean, it started with First Person Shooter. That song's a banger, and they just keep going and going and going, and it ends with Not Like Us. That's actually not the last song. Drake just pulled all of his shit because he was getting beat. Anyways, not important. Blake Lively, jury's out on her. Who knows? At least she. I mean, I don't know. Moving on, though.
Moving on.
One more time. Sorry.
Moving on.
Okay, we can't do this anymore. We
Yeah, I
cannot
know.
do this anymore.
We.
Do you want to go into? Go ahead.
What were you
What
gonna say?
No, what were you
What
gonna
were
say?
you gonna say? I was hoping you would say something.
Well, I was going to, but you interrupted me.
Go ahead.
Do you want to move into what are you watching or reading
Oh,
or
I'd
doing?
love to move into what are you watching?
Yeah.
Or AKA this week on screens, whatever name sticks. Where we tell you what's happening this week on our screens.
That's a good Okay, how about rewind? Now moving on to this week on screens.
Where we tell you what happens this week on our screens.
There you go.
Great. This week you know what I just rewatched? And we've rewatched over the span of like 3 days. Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, did you see the Netflix animated show?
I'm gonna like genuinely. I think I'm gonna start watching it tonight.
You should. I mean,
watching
I
this
think
movie.
I think they canceled the season 2. Anyway, go ahead.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Watching this movie, and I'm like watching this movie, and I'm like, damn, why is this not in my Letterboxd top 4? This is one of the best fucking movies I've ever seen. We tried watching it, and I fell asleep like 2 nights in a row trying to watch it just because I'm exhausted. But like, this movie is epic. It's so funny. I love everything about. I just love this movie. That's what I watched most recently. I just started listening to an extreme horror book called The Troop. I just finished up reading Tender is the Flesh, a book about what happens if you breed humans for human meat consumption. It was interesting.
You finished it?
Yeah. That's a lie. I have like 3 chapters left. I don't know why I said I finished it.
Okay.
I'm bored.
It's not like a classroom where you have to lie to your teacher, dude. I'm just asking now.
No, I didn't finish. I don't know why I lied about that. But no, I got like
that's a weird thing to lie about.
I know. I just was like, oh my god, they're gonna know that I don't finish stuff sometimes. I paused on it. I'm bored as fuck I'm just like, I don't know. There's like an hour or something left of content. I'm like, I'm done. So I moved on. We're listening to a book called The Troop. As always, I'm listening to For Your Amusement podcast. But yeah, I've just been watching a lot of YouTube recently. Big news in the Parkheads world. Six Flags Great America is getting a new coaster. So I've been watching a lot of content about that. The Wrath of Rakshasa. New dive coaster. 171 foot. Drop 96-degree angle, 5 inversions. Very exciting. This is gonna be me, guys.
This is gonna be a meme like 10 years down the line that Katie's just gonna be pushing this roller coaster content.
Look,
and what's gonna end up happening is that Katie's gonna finally like get me to agree to like let them do a video on it. And then it's gonna fucking like pop off. I bet you anything that's what's gonna happen.
Hope.
But based off of principle, I'm gonna hold on.
Watch out in the next year.